One thing I do have to say though is that if Zayden and Violet start fighting again, I might have to kill myself. Hey book lovers, welcome back to my channel. So sorry for the glare. It feels like it's been a while since I've made a video or filmed a video, which it has been, don't get me wrong, but today is a very exciting day. Today is the release of the third book in the Fourth Wing series, which is Onyx Storm. And so I have to get going. I am going to the bookstore on release day to just grab a copy of the book. I know I'm probably going to buy some other books there. I'm not necessarily sure what books I'm going to buy. I've put myself kind of on a book buying ban this year, so come book shopping with me. We're gonna pick up Onyx Storm and all of that. And it's probably just going to be a reading vlog. But yeah, let's get started. And let's go. And yeah. I just arrived at the bookstore and there's literally a lineup of people outside right now waiting for it to open. It is freaking cold outside, so I am not going to be standing outside. I am just going to wait till like 10 o'clock when it opens, which is only like 5 minutes from now. So yeah, but we've arrived. And okay, one sad thing that I learned over the holidays was that the bookstore closest to my house is closing. It's literally closing this week, and so they obviously aren't going to have Onyx Storm, so I had to drive over to the next nearest bookstore. It's a 10-minute drive either way. It's just this one is a bit harder to get to just because I have to go I think this one's a bit further than the one that was closest to my house. So it's it's not a big deal and all of that, but at the same time I'm just I have to account for the travel time to get here now. So I guess if I am going on a book buying ban, I guess it's kind of okay that the bookstore near my house closed, because now I don't have a nearest bookstore to really go to. Yeah, but the parking lot, again, surprisingly busy for a Tuesday morning. Don't know why everyone is here. We all took the day off to read this book. So yeah, though that's the update I have for you now. Guys, that was literally so unserious, and for what reason? Immediately when doors open, everyone was running, grabbing the books off the table and all that. I'm I get it, it's serious, but it's not that serious. Okay, we can be a bit more orderly than that. We can be a bit more conscientious of the people around us. It was so unserious like that, but it's so funny. The main table that had the books was gone in 10 seconds. I literally walked through the doors and all the books were gone. That's how serious it was. But then it's I literally found a shelf full of them. Nobody touched them, so I got to be very picky and diligent as to get one that had, first off, really good sprayed edges and really a nice spine and all that. So yeah, but I'm super excited to start reading this. Do I remember what goes on in Iron Flame? No, because I kind of have beef with that book, but we'll get to it once I get home. I grabbed two other books by the way. I got The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I wanted this for Christmas, didn't end up getting it, so that's one of the books I wanted. And then the other one was I Hope This Doesn't Find You. I've read this book already, but I really want to annotate this book, so get ready for maybe an annotating vlog. I don't know. I'm going to head home now and get started on reading, get started on my cozy little reading day, because we all need forms of self-care. Okay guys, we're home and I think I'm going to make myself some tea and all of that. And tell me why, this morning I was so cold, so I put on the coziest hoodie I have and literally put on a puffer jacket and then blasted the heat in my car, and now I'm so hot. So now I'm dressed like it's summertime, but that is the reality of living in Canada in the winter. And so let's get started. I'm not a coffee person, so I've been drinking a lot of tea, and the one I've been drinking right now is the holiday spiced tea. We got this as a gift from one of our friends, so yeah, let me know if you're a coffee drinker or a tea drinker, because I'm curious, I guess. set up for reading. Got my tea. I made a latte because I felt extra today. Have my book, and I have my Fourth Wing ambiance on YouTube happening. So yeah, I'm gonna record myself reading this. Again, I didn't really do like a whole like refresher of what happens in like Fourth Wing and Iron Flame and all of that, but I have read both of those books twice already. So, and I did it through like the graphic audio production wise, so it's like I have a picture of what happens in my head, especially at the end of Iron Flame, but at the same time I have beef with Iron Flame because I just don't think Iron Flame was a great book. Like, no offense to the people who love it, whatever, like, that's on you, like, good for you. For me, I did not love Iron Flame. I think there was just so much repetition happening in the book that could have been like cut out and all of that. So this one seems much shorter. So I'm hoping that this book is good. But I also remember from Iron Flame that like so many new characters got introduced that I know they're probably going to appear in this book and I'm going to be like, who are you again? But yeah, this is what we have going on for us right now. So I will let you know my updates when they happen, I guess. Okay, so first update for Onyx Storm. Not gonna lie, my expectations were very low for this book. Considering my feelings toward Iron Flame and all of that and sort of that release, but I've made it to chapter 5. So I haven't made it too far into the book, but it is a pretty quick read. But for the most part, this book is definitely better. Like right off the bat, I can see sort of that Rebecca Yarros took into account the criticisms that she got in Iron Flame. But at the same time, like, I still have problems with some of the writing in this. Like, just grammatically, some things do not make sense, or it's like, you read it and you know that this is the wrong grammar. So again, questioning the editors on that part of it. There were some moments where I feel like there are mistakes, or maybe it's just I don't like Rebecca Yarros' writing style. So there's that. And then another thing that I have to complain about, sorry, I feel like this is like so negative, but really like I'm here for the vibes. I'm here just to like get immersed in like this world of dragons. And so a lot of things that happen in this book I take on a very surface level. I don't really do theories or anything because I just truly don't care enough to do that with this book series. I'm having a good time reading, like, don't get me wrong, like, this book series is really a book series that I just don't really like have to use my mind a lot when I read, but at the same time I'm allowed to have criticisms, and I think like those things can like coexist in the same, you know, sort of universe. And so yeah, though that's what I think about Onyx Storm right now, and I'll give you another update when I see fit. Also, Also, for those of you who are trying to figure out maybe my reading speed and all that, because I do say I'm a fast reader, I have been reading for an hour, and I'm currently on chapter 5, which is page 43. So it's taken me about, I would say, I guess maybe like 2 minutes to read a page, maybe less than 2 minutes to read a page for this book. So for anyone that's curious about my reading speed and all of that, so take that as you will. But yeah, currently on chapter 5, I'm using this Pantone card as a bookmark because I couldn't find my other bookmarks. But yeah, that's what's going on. I decided to come downstairs to read because so unserious of me, but I remembered that my living room has surround sound, and so it's on the television, so we're just going to read down here for a bit. Okay, so I'm about 100 pages into Onyx Storm now, and overall, I'm enjoying it way more than Iron Flame for sure. I feel like you're just gonna hear me say that throughout this entire video, but it is better. It is better. The plot is moving a lot more and all of that, but the only thing about this book is that there's so much there's so much politics in this that I truly skimmed over in the first 2 books, because I'm just gonna be honest, the world building in these books is not great. It's not as understandable as it could be. And so right now there's just a lot of politics between different territories in this country that they're living in and all of that. And again, there's a lot of history that I feel like Rebecca Yarros tells you in the previous books and all that, but it's like never really put in like a chronological like standpoint or anything like that. So it's just like, you know, specific events have happened in their country to make them so divided, but it's also like, it's just not well done. And so every single time we're in a different territory, every single time politics comes up, I'm just like, what are we talking about right now? Like, when did we establish this? But yeah, but one thing about this book is that Violet and Xaden haven't been fighting yet. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad they're learning somewhat how to communicate with each other. Then again, the standards are very low when it comes to the communication between them. But yeah, it's just like, these are my first initial thoughts about it. I don't really know what direction this is going in or anything like that. These are just my personal opinions as well of this book and all of that. So yeah, but those are my other updates I have for Onyx Storm. So I'm currently on page 100. One thing I do have to say though is that if Xaden and Violet start fighting again, I might have to kill myself. Sorry if this is a weird angle from where I'm filming, but I was just too lazy to grab my tripod. But I made it to chapter 34 of Onyx Storm, and all I have to say is throughout this whole book, I don't know what's happening. Like, I truly am lost every single chapter. I don't know where we are. I don't know who we're with. But chapter 34, crazy revelation just happens. Again, I have my own personal thoughts about this book and all that I won't share until later, till probably I'm done, because I'm just trying to get through it, you guys. I'm just trying to get through it. I'm back with another update. And this, like, okay, this isn't a spoiler or anything for the book or whatever, or I guess it's like a mini spoiler if like you haven't read the previous 2 books, but pretty much in this book, the middle section of it is practically like most of the time the characters are like traveling around the world, I guess, on their dragons and their whatevers, and they're pretty much going to each country and like trying to form these alliances with them, because like a war is coming and all that. And so like the characters are just, it feels like they're going on side quests the entire time. Like, I feel like I've read like 3 different side quests. I got to page 300 and I'm like literally going insane because I'm just kind of like, what's the point of this? And now all these characters are like getting hurt in like the most ridiculous ways possible. So I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel about this book. Hey guys, so it is the next day and I practically spent the entire night last night reading Onyx Storm. I just ended up getting through it like pretty quickly. I feel like Onyx Storm, it was a pretty easy book to get through compared to Iron Flame. Iron Flame, I just felt like I was just reading words on a page and just being like when is this gonna end? But this one, by the last 100 pages, I was like locked in. I was like, I'm ready to finish this. I'm ready to learn what happens to the characters at the end. And so yeah, I just thought I would come on here and do my quick little review of the book. This won't have any spoilers or anything, or not that or if I do say spoilers, I will note it. The bar was very low for this series, and this was the book that was really gonna make or break it for me. So if I didn't like this book, I probably wouldn't continue reading the rest of the series. Meanwhile, if I did, I'd be like, okay, I'm open to reading the next 2 books because I believe there's going to be 5 books in the series. So personally for me, I had a better time reading this than Iron Flame. I rated this a 3.75 stars. Consider that I rated Iron Flame about a 3 stars. So it's like, it's very much in the middle of like, I think the first book of Fourth Wing is genuinely such a good book. I gave that a 4.75 stars. And so like that one, it was just, I engaged with the story so much in the first book. I like the plot, I like the characters, I like everything that was happening and all of that. And then Iron Flame, second book syndrome, she was setting up for the 3rd book and all of that and sort of the repercussions of everything. But I just feel like it wasn't well done, and I also felt like she was rushed to write it because Fourth Wing had gotten such a hype, like gotten so much hype that, you know, all of this publishing company was like, we need to get out the next book quick, we need to get the next book out quickly. And I'm like, I feel like it could have done, like, so much editing could have happened and all that, and I feel like because of what happened in the 2nd book, it sort of bled into the 3rd book, in that I feel like the 3rd book, it was an easier read, I would say, for me. There were moments that it's like I did feel kind of bored while reading it, or I was reading moments like, why is this relevant? Like, why are we focusing on this and all of that? But I feel like the last 100 pages of Rebecca Yarros's novels always kind of save it, which, not that I'm saying I enjoy that, having to read 400 pages of agony before I get to the last 100 pages of things, but I do feel like a lot of just this feeling had to do with the fact that the 2nd book isn't that great. You know, it wasn't that great. It felt really rushed. There were a lot of just grammatical things happening and all of that. Because I have those complaints with the 2nd book, it really kind of showed in the 3rd book, and I think she did a lot to sort of, you know, combat what happened in the 2nd book. But anyways, I liked Onyx Storm way better. And yeah, so it's like, when it came to plot, I would say like there was definitely a plot, but I feel like there was a lot of character growth between Violet and Xaden. I feel like that was really the focus of it, and Violet now having to come to terms with a lot more. I would say she had the most character development, in the sense that I hated her in Iron Flame. I could tolerate her in the 1st book. I hated her in Iron Flame because she was just acting super like immature and all that. It just like, she was like, you know, she was very selfish and all of that, I would say, where it's like In this book, she really learns how to be a leader. I would say she really learns what her place now is in this book, and she really is working on communication skills and all that. Meanwhile, in this book, Xaden is kind of going through this like emo boy phase, so I feel like in this book he's not as aggressive as he is in like the first two books, because he's really, in the first two books, he's trying to protect Violet. He's trying to shape her. He's kind of an asshole in the first two books, where this one, he's going through a lot that makes him, you know, I wouldn't say he's less of an asshole. I think he's kind of still an asshole sometimes, but you understand a lot of his character motivations and all that. And, you know, he is dealing with a lot. And I can't say what he's dealing with without any spoilers. And so, yeah, but I liked their dynamic. I like their relationship in this book, and I like, you know, the dynamics between the other characters and all of that. But one thing about Rebecca Yarros, and I had this complaint in Iron Flame, and I have it in this book as well, is that she introduces too many new characters, especially in the first 10 chapters of this book. You are introduced to at least 20 new characters, and you're reading all of these chapters with all these new names, and you're reading it, you're like, am I supposed to know who this is? Like, I'm sorry, but I don't know this man. Am I supposed to know who this person is? Am I supposed to care about who this person is? Because another thing about Rebecca Yarros is that she will introduce a character, and by the time you remember the character's name, they will either just disappear or like they get killed off. And so I think, you know, I understand why she needs to have like those characters and all that, but I'm just like, I don't need to know their names. I don't need to know why they're here. I don't need to know anything about their backstory. Like, it's just like, if you need them for a specific plot point or specific conflict or whatever, use them and get them out. Like, I don't need to know their life story. I don't need them exposition dumping on things. Introduce them and go, you know? I feel like because so many characters are introduced and you don't get enough time with them, a lot of the times, like, because of that, everything feels like much lower stakes, or it's like there's just no emotional attachment between the characters. It's like by the time you learn their names, they're already killed off or they're already gone. And then you're kind of like, well, now what? Like, what do I do now? Like, it's like I just learned his name and now he's gone. Like, am I supposed to care about this? Like, what, like, am I supposed to have like an emotional response? Like, sometimes I just don't because I'm like, I barely knew them. They probably contributed something in this book, but can't name it on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, and so that's kind of how I feel. About just like the characters and all that. Like, even in the second book, it's like characters like Sloane were introduced, and Sloane barely shows up in this book. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but I'm just like, every time she showed up, I was like, oh yeah, you exist. You know, I was like, oh, you're here. Where'd you go? Where have you been? Like, what were you doing while we were over here? Like, I don't know. Yeah, so again, those are my thoughts on characters. I have so many complaints about just like too many characters in this book that like, I'm just like, there's so many characters in this book that it just felt like I was being gaslighted. I'm like, am I supposed to know who this person is? Am I supposed to know like what we're doing and all that? So yeah. And as for plot, it's like I understood what was happening throughout the story. I understood, you know, like the end goal of it, I would say. But when it actually came to like the chapters of reading things, I was like, so like, genuinely, where are we? Like, are we in Bag's-Gaiath? Are we in another country? Are we in another like city? Like, where are we? And the thing with like Rebecca Yarros is that Rebecca Yarros, you can tell like in her interviews and all that she has this world built out in her head. But the thing is, she's the only person who actually knows what this world is. When it comes to fantasy, a lot of the times you are introduced to a fictional country that has fictional, you know, like states or divisions or different areas and all that. And so even if you don't know exactly what the country itself looks like and how it's laid out and all of that, a lot of the times you can still follow these fantasy books because of the world building around you, and there are certain distinctions or certain, you know, things that help you to distinguish different places and all that. Where it's like, for this book, I literally could not tell you the difference between Navarre, Poromiel, whatever else like was going on and all that. Like, it didn't make sense to me. And so yeah, I literally could not tell you the difference between the different places we were at. And then it also just like she just kind of, in this book, she jumps between so many places at so many different times. So it's like one chapter you're in Beg's Guide, the next chapter it's like 3 weeks later, or it's like 3 days later we're here. And I'm just like, how did you get there? Like, did we, like, I know you flew your dragons, but like, did we teleport? Like, what happened in between there? Like, I don't know. There were just so many things about the world building that it's like, I genuinely, like, the world building in this book drives me insane, because I'm just like, I don't know where we are. Like, I don't know where we are. I don't know who we're with and all of that. And I feel like this is like turning into a really like negative review and all of that, which I'm like, I feel like I can have criticisms of a book and also enjoy the vibes of it. And so yeah, like, that's how I feel about this series. Like, I don't think it's like a groundbreaking series or anything, like, but you know, it's like, because I have an emotional connection to the first one, I do want to see how it plays out and all that in the next books. And so I think that's kind of what keeps me reading. And obviously, like, to each of their own. If you don't operate like that, and if you're kind of like, once I'm done a book, I'm done, and once I DNF'd it, it's gone, like, good for you. But for me, I'm just like, I think I just have morbid curiosity, in the sense that it's like, this might be bad, but I'm still curious. I still want to read. And so that's kind of how I operate when I read books. So yeah, those are just my thoughts on Onyx Storm. Like, if you love this book, if this is a 5-star read for you, good for you. I'm so glad that you enjoyed it. I'm so glad that the target audience was found. For me, it was like, it was semi-found, semi-not. Like, I feel like there were a lot of likes that I had about this book, but also there are so many moments where I'm just like, it could have been done better. This could have been done better. But anyways, thank you so much for watching this video and me rant about this book. I really wasn't expecting to turn this into a reading vlog, but I just had so many thoughts about it and so many just opinions about it. So yeah, that's what I thought of Onyx Storm. I will be reading the 4th book. Again, that one will actually, no, there's 2 more books. I'm already halfway through. I might as well finish it, because one thing about me is I'm a finisher. Thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts of Onyx Storm in the comments below. Be nice to me in the comments below, please. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!